Bell rolls is the reporter thrown into the secretive world of the Forex Super Model, where nothing is as it seems. Beware the techno monk, and steer clear of Professor Code and his two assistants. Give the senior trader a wide berth, and don't expect any sense from the risk manager.
Good morning, I'm Professor Code and this is the Forex Super Model daily review for Wednesday the 10th of November 2021. Time is just coming up to 4:20 in the morning, 0400. Asian session about to close, European session firing up, our lunchtime North American session. Right, Tuesday the 9th then, which was yesterday, we had a positive unopposed driver in the yen at plus 128, no backdoor flows. The opposing negative flows mainly coming out the pound at minus 64, out the dollar at minus 33, and the euro was the negative rock at minus 31, activity plus or minus 128. Intra-week then becoming more relevant, this is from Monday the 8th, open to about 15 minutes ago. We've got a negative opposed driver in the dollar, minus 159. Front and back door flows mainly going into the pound at plus 132, into the yen at plus 68, and the euro was the negative rock at minus 41, activity plus or minus 200. Right, so yesterday we had a strong yen driving to the exclusion of all else in the majors, and we had this equity transmission because we had the equities came off a bit in the major indexes. So you had this equity transmission driving positive flows into the yen and stripping out flows from the pound, the dollar and the euro. And over the week we've had a negative, a soft dollar, basically pushing positive flows into the pound and into the yen. So and the euro's a bit soft as well. So intraday then, this is the Asian session to about 15 minutes ago. We've now got an unopposed negative driver in the euro at minus 32. No backdoor flows, the opposing positive flows mainly going into the pound at plus 17, into the yen at plus 14, and the dollar is the solid positive rock at plus 1, activity plus or minus 32. So there we are, just for completeness there. So we're going to stop that there and write up the flows and move it forward. Right, we've written up the flows then. So the euro is weak except against the AUD and the NZD. The yen is strong across the board. The pound is strong except against the yen. The Swiss is weak except against the euro, the AUD and the NZD. The CAD is strong except against the yen, the dollar and the pound. The AUD is weak except against the NZD. The NZD is weak across the board, and the dollar is strong except against the yen and the pound. So what have we got? We've got yen strength across the board, and we've got NZD weakness. We've got AUD weakness as well, apart from the NZD. So you've got secondary AUD weakness. And on the strength front, you've got the pound being strong just behind the yen. And you've got some dollar strength coming in now as well. So what's been knocking about, or will do, we've had China PPI, which was very positive. So that's producer price index, which means ultimately they're going to be trying to pass those prices on. So big importers like the US and the West generally are going to start to get imported inflation into their system. The rising price in imports. The CPI is also strong in China, but not as strong as the PPI. German CPI to come, US CPI to come as well. And tomorrow, Thursday, the 11th, we've got AUD employment change and GBP GDP. And Friday, we've got Michigan consumer sentiment. So it's sort of lightweight to a certain extent. Tomorrow is an American holiday, remember, Veterans Day, I understand. So the American markets will be shut. So that's something to bear in mind. We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll stop it there and write up the asset classes and do the final analysis. Right, we've written up the asset classes then. So US dollar index, basically we had this big pump up. It did a sort of a treble top. It's now 0.25 from the high. So it's come off 25% from the modelled high, but it's coming back. Gold is 0.37 from the high, so it's well above half marks. Gold sort of staged a bit of recovery. Oil is did that big break. It's now holding at or near the highs. It's broken about plus 0.4, 40% above the resistance. So we've had a 40% break basically in oil. Wall Street, S&P, Tech, they've all got a similar look. They broke resistances. They've come back a little bit. Wall Street and the S&P are pretty much similar. It's lost about 0.3 of the break from the resistance, 0.33, so it's lost about a third of the break, whereas the tech has fared worse and it's lost about half the break. So that's something to bear in mind. And the tech was being sold off relatively more heavily yesterday with the Tesla situation. Anyway, so that's that. US 10-year in the bund. You've got this is the price. We have this pump down in price, rising yields. Now we've had this bounce in price. The US 10-year is 0.545 from the floor, 0.45. So it's below half mark, so yields are relatively strong. Bund is 0.29 from the high, so it's bounced a lot more. Yields are relatively softer. So US 10-year yields outstripping the bund yields significantly there. Copper so copper's been chopping about. It's now relatively soft. It's 0.40 from the floor, so it's below half marks, having been up a bit. And US steel here is 0.4 from the high, 40% off the modelled high. Still pretty range bound though. So right, let's get rid of that and then do the final analysis then. So bear in mind, today is going to be all about inflation data. We've already had some pretty strong inflation data from China, particularly the producer price end of it rather than the consumer price. Just grab this. So this is what we think. So we've got the dollar, the euro, the yen and the pound in the majors. We've got the CAD, the AUD and the NZD, and we've got the Swiss. We'll start with the CAD. We've got oil sort of punching above this break, so oil's high, which will no doubt help the CAD. We've got American holiday, so Thursday, US holiday, and we've had an equity drop, and we've had a positive transmission in the yen. We've got the AUD and the NZD relatively soft, and if you look at the flows then, so if you look at what's happening yesterday, the dollar was the negative mover. Over the week, the dollar's the negative driver, and then if you look at in the Asian session, it's the dollar's coming up. It's now the positive mover. Now +1. Now you've got this situation of the US holiday. You've got equities shine's been taken off equities. You've got a rise in the yen. You've had risk off flows yesterday, which didn't fully kick in, and you've got rising oil prices. You've got and you've got some more CPI data coming out from Germany and the US. Now the likelihood is this is going to be relatively strong, and the markets will take this opportunity, we believe, to take some money off the table, to sell off, and we think that equities are going to basically come off and hide over the holiday. So we think equities will come off. This will lead to positive yen transmission. So you've got flows into the yen via the equity transmission, and you're starting to see dollar strength come through. So you're likely to see this sort of scenario. I don't know, yen dollar on the positive, and in the majors, if you've got positive flows into the dollar and the yen, then you're going to get negative flows into the pound and the euro. So that's what we think is going to happen, and you're going to get flows out of the AUD. The CAD's being propped a bit by the oil price, but ultimately probably be neutral to marginally strong. So and the Swiss is likely to follow the yen follow the yen up. So Swiss is likely to be positive with a bit of the usual risk off stuff. So the best place to be, we think, today. You want to be looking at the way equities. Equities are likely to sell off further as people book profits for the US holiday and take a sort of a breather and relax over the holiday if that's possible. And then so you're going to get flows into the yen. And then the dollar's starting to get a yield differential between the US 10-year and the bond, so that's positive. You're getting imported inflation into both in terms of gas prices and normal imports from China. So the dollar is likely to come up. So you're likely to see a good strong pump in the dollar today, and it's just a case of what it's coupled with. So dollar pound, pound dollar, so short likely, euro dollar short, but that's a big beast, and then so dollar AUD short, so dollar AUD. And the CAD is likely to be sort of neutral to solid off the back of the oil transmission. So that's where we think we are. But so just to sum up, really, expect strength in the dollar and the yen, weakness in the pound and the euro, and weakness in the AUD and the NZD as we go into this US holiday later for Thursday. So hope that was useful. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.